Hey, yo, everyone. Andrew here, bringing you another video with kind of blown out hair. I don't know. I was just doing the hand thing with the hair sometimes, and I was grabbing it. I have a problem. Like I put my hands through my hair a lot. I don't know why I do that, and I'm fortunate, although always paranoid, because my family is not known for having good hair. My father is very thin, basically bald. My brother is very thin. I think I got my mother's hair, so it's kind of thick Italian hair. Even though I'm only like 10% Italian, but that 10% count, I guess. But we're not talking about my hair. Of course, post workout, your boy's having his protein shake in the flash shaker. But I haven't posted a video in a bit. I've been busy job searching and working a bunch of other stuff. But there's a reason why I haven't really been posting a video. I haven't been reading comics, and there's a good reason for that. I have not read comics consistently in the past month or so. And you know why? This bloody future state stuff sucks. Now, I'm gonna go on a quick rant and I'm gonna try to make it under 10 minutes. Who knows? We'll see. I have to get home because my kids are waking up like 2 hours early and they're harassing my wife, so I have to be there. But anyways, future state. I did not like the concept of future state from the get-go. First of all, it is a Frankenstein 5G. 5G itself seemed like a terrible idea, but this is like 5G fell apart and then they're kind of trying to put it back together and they're Frankensteining it the best they can. But for 2 months, I have not gave a shit about DC Comics. Actually, I haven't really given a shit about any comics right now, except for I've been excited about TMNT, of course, and Power Rangers. But this Future Say stuff, I just don't care about. There's several reasons for that. Number one, I hate stories set in the future for a couple reasons. First reason, almost always when we go to the future in comic books, it's terrible. It's never a good future. Heroes have fallen, their morals are broken, their lives suck. I'm an optimist. I don't want to have to go to a future and see Batman failed his mission, Superman is estranged from his family, and Wonder Woman's morals are broken or something like that. I just don't like terrible futures. And almost every time we go to the future, it's terrible. Look at Future State, right? Batman's on the run and someone else has the cowl. Uh, Flash and Wally West are just having a terrible time. The Green Lantern Corps is all messed up. Like, it's just a terrible future and it happens every time. Do you remember when we went back and we did that half year event, the Future Now or whatever it was called? I don't even remember the one where Grifter was supposed to be the big thing and Brother Eye was supposed to be. It was a terrible future. It was a terrible future. I erased it from my memory so much that I don't even remember the name of it. And I read the whole event, but I hate future stuff because the future's always fucking grim and terrible. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm kind of cool with Batman Catwoman because although Batman's dead in the future, it's not a bad future for Batman. He has a kid, and he has a family, he has a wife, and everyone he loved is still around. He was pretty successful in his mission. Sure, he died of cancer, but he died as an old fucking man. And it's kind of a happy ending for Batman in a way, but I guess that's not canon, so whatever. Second thing I don't care about stories set in the future is they never stick. The future is always constantly changing. Yeah, if you want to go out into the Legion of Superheroes, it's a little different, but even their future is constantly getting rebooted and changed. So that's why I never commit to a particular future. Do I honestly think that Wally West is going to be possessed and become a mass murderer and Barry Allen is going to lose all his friends and family trying to stop him, kind of thing? Or that Batman's really going to fail in his mission to the point that he's on the run and he's not even Batman anymore? No, that future is never going to stick. So those are two major reasons I don't care about stories set in the future. Is that one, the future is always grim, and number two is the stories never stick. Now, with this Infinite Frontier coming out, there's a possibility that some of these things are going to at least get some recognition in the main DC continuity. I know that the new Wonder Woman is going to become Wonder Girl, which should be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I really don't care about this future state stuff. And not just that, but it's a blatant grab for cash that's not working. Like they they do swapping of characters. They try to make characters different ethnicities, different genders, or just change up the characters in general. And I don't think they understand that people don't want that. I'm all for diversity and bringing new characters and having them develop and grow, right? I think that representation should happen in comic books, but not at the expense of current superheroes. If you want a good character who is black, make a good character that's black. Don't replace Batman with that character in order to get that character recognition by saying he was Batman. First of all, I don't think anyone should ever really replace certain characters. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Wolverine, Spider Man, Iron Man, these characters are so intrinsically entwined with their particular characters that you shouldn't replace them. And whenever you do, it's a disservice to the characters that you're using to replace them because ultimately they never really become anything at all. Like, remember back when Jean Paul Valley became Batman and people hated it? Replacing characters who are so entwined to it just never works. Even when it kind of works a bit with like Wolverine when they had X-23 become the new Wolverine and people were kind of on board with it, it still didn't work to the point that they brought Wolverine back, although it was destined for him to come back. And sometimes it does work, like Miles Morales, but it's at the expense of him being set in another universe, and the mainstay Spider-Man, the 616 Spider-Man, is still alive. I'm all for diversity with comic book characters. If you want a black superhero, a non-binary superhero, if you want a lesbian superhero, then that's fine. But make them their own people. A great example of a character that kind of stems from a mainstay character but is their own character is the Signal, Duke Thompson. I think he's one of the best characters that have come out in the past 10 years for DC Comics. He is adjacent to Batman. He is one of his proteges, but he is not Batman. He is not taking over the mantle of the character. And thus he gets to develop and grow and become his own character. And I think that's how you should do it. Another great example is the Flash of China. Avery, I think her name is. She is a unique, interesting character who's adjacent to the Flash, who didn't even appear in the Flash. She appeared in the new Superman. But she is adjacent to the Flash. She has similar powers to the Flash, but she is kind of her own character. When you bring in characters, if you want to really bring in new characters and new ideas and have broader representation, which is fine because a lot of these characters that came out during the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, where they were majority white male characters. So if you want to bring some diversity, then that's perfectly fine. But do it by making original characters. Characters that I love that have that diversity should be their own characters. They shouldn't have to have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Spider Man be crutches for them. Um, and listen, I know I'll probably get some flack from people because they're going to see this as some kind of political rant or anything. But no, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about social issues in my things. I just don't think you should use ethnicity as a reason to replace a character. And like I said, I think certain characters are geared and set for a particular title and role, and they should stay in that role. I don't want to see Black Panther replaced by another character because the Black Panther character is intrinsically that character. That role is made for them. I don't want to see someone replace Superman because Superman is Clark Kent. I don't want to see someone else be Blade because Blade is Blade. His history, his backstory is catered to what that character is. The only time that this works is when you do something like the Green Lantern Corps, because it's established with the second Green Lantern to ever be published, which is Hal Jordan, who is really the mainstay Green Lantern, that there is a core of Green Lanterns, that there is a universe of Green Lanterns. So for the possibility of you to bring in a new character as a Green Lantern is totally possible. And Green Lantern does a very good job with diversity. Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner are white males. You have Kyle Rayner, who is Hispanic, which a lot of people forget. He is Hispanic. You have John Stewart, who is black. You have Simon Baz, who is of Middle Eastern descent. And then you have Jessica Cruz, who is a female and also Hispanic. And you know what? Their race has nothing to do with them being the Green Lantern. It's just a backdrop for what the character is. So, again, that's another thing I don't like about the future state. You're changing characters for the sake of diversity, but you're ultimately hurting diversity by doing so. So, shitty futures that aren't going to stick, cheap money ploy, and you're going overly woke and it's hurting your wokeness. So it's just the future state stuff shittily sucks, and an example of why DC, why combo companies shouldn't be doing this, right? And more importantly, characters that are of that representation of diversity and stuff like that. Where's my Midnighter? Where's my Apollo? Those are some of the two best gay superheroes in comic books, right? I love their series. I loved their miniseries when they were out. Midnighter is one of the most badass individuals out there, and they have a strong relationship with each other, and DC hasn't been using them. Instead of creating a new character who is gay and then having them take over a position of another character, why not use the ones that you have? Because it's foolish. Like you have all these characters and you're not utilizing them. You're just making new characters to be flashy, right? And you're having them take over the mantle of other characters for notoriety, for fans to be like, oh, that's Batman. Again, you have the characters. You have your Jon Stewarts. You have your Black Lightnings. You have your Jaime Reyes. You have your Avery. You have your Midnighter. You have your Apollo. You have all these characters. Why aren't you using them? So it's just like is this whole thing has not been structured good from the get go, and I just have not cared about reading DC because of it. Now, eventually, this is going to end, and I'll get back to reading regularly. And I have bought all the future state stuff because I am a monster. I buy everything DC, but it's just the motivation to read it is so minuscule. It's not even funny. I even got to the point where I was reading the new Superman stuff of Metropolis that has John Kent as Superman, and I was just like glazingly barely reading it. I think that comic book companies need to understand how to create new characters and market these characters and do it the right way, where you are doing right by the fans and you're doing right by those characters. If you want to have a non binary character in your comics, go for it. They don't have to be the Flash, they can be their own unique character. And I get it, it's tough. The comic book industry is blowing right now. Sure, the movies and the TV shows are holding together pretty well, but the actual industry themselves are not doing as good as they were in the 90s or the 80s. And that's because of the evolution of media and entertainment. But in saying that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot even more and more and more and more. And I know this is a controversial a topic that people don't like to talk about because it is one that brings in the a lot of um, social topics like race, gender, sexual orientation, so on and so forth. But this isn't a discussion about those things as whether they should or shouldn't be in comics. They should, right? Not every comic book character should be the same. But I want to make sure those things are represented correctly and that they don't have to use the crutch of them being the new Wonder Woman or them being the new Superman or the new Spider Man, the new Wolverine or the new Hulk in order for it to happen. Because I don't think anyone cares about those characters, right? No one cares about Artemis when she took over for Wonder Woman in the 90s. No one cares about any of the Superman clones in the 90s, except for maybe Superboy. But other than that, no one cares. No one cares about Jean Paul Valley back in the 90s when he replaced Batman. If it didn't work back then, it's not going to work now. That was the great experiment with Jean Paul Valley, right? Here's the thing that you guys got to realize, and I'll try to wrap this up soon, is that Jean Paul Valley was originally supposed to be the new Batman, right? The general concept was is that we're going to take Bruce Wayne out. We'll test the waters with this edgier Batman because some characters like the Punisher are really getting over in Marvel. Wolverine's really getting over in Marvel. Let's kind of do our thing with one of our biggest characters, with Batman. So they did it, and everyone hated it. So much so that they needed to bring Batman back. Now, John Paul Valley is actually a very interesting character, and I like them. I think Jean Paul Valley is underutilized in the Batman mythos. But because they forced him down our throat as this new Batman, that people hated him. And the character never has fully recovered because of which. It never really got the recognition that he deserves. That is my fear. You bring in these new characters to replace these characters, right? You bring in a character to become the new Aquaman, and you shove it down people's throats, and people are not going to like that because people like Aquaman. They like Batman. They like Bruce Wayne. They like Arthur Curry. So when you replace the characters that they like, that they've known, and that they've been comfortable with, it's just you're not doing service for the new character that you bring in. I've been ranting for about 15 minutes and 43 seconds now, and I think that's probably enough. But I just want to enjoy reading comics again without comics. I think comic book companies are trying too hard, too hard, and they just need to chill. They just need to and be reasonable and sensible. Um, I get it. Desperate times means you try everything you can, but I just want us to be smart about it. That's all. So I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation, and of course, I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your thoughts. Uh, are you guys as befuddled and disappointed with future state as I am, or are you like this is exactly what I need? Well, post down below. But everyone play nice. That's the most important thing. And with that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.